in the quiet countryside of France in the year 1412. A young girl named Joan of Arc was born into a humble peasant family. She was like any other child, helping her parents, tending sheep, and growing up in a world overshadowed by the horrors of the 100 Years' War, a brutal conflict between France and England. But Joan was different. Even as a child, she was deeply devout, spending hours in prayer and seeking God's guidance. Little did she know, she was chosen for something extraordinary. At just 13 years old, Joan began to experience something miraculous: visions and voices from heaven. These were no ordinary dreams. She clearly heard the voices of Saint Michael the Archangel, Saint Catherine, Saint Margaret. They told her something shocking. She was chosen by God to save France. A teenage girl, with no military training or noble status, was being called to lead an army and restore her country's future. At first, she was terrified. How could she, a simple farm girl, do something so impossible? But Joan trusted God more than her fears. For 4 years, Joan kept her visions secret, but as the war raged on and France faced defeat after defeat, she knew she couldn't stay silent. By age 17, she set out on a dangerous journey to meet the Dauphin of France, Charles VII, the rightful heir to the throne. She traveled hundreds of miles through enemy territory, disguised as a man to avoid capture. When she finally arrived at the court, many mocked her. A peasant girl sent by God to save France. Ridiculous, they sneered. But Joan was undeterred. To test her, Charles hid among his nobles, but Joan, guided by divine wisdom, recognized him instantly. This stunned the court. How could an illiterate girl who had never seen Charles before pick him out? Moved by her words, Charles allowed her to be examined by church officials to determine if she was truly sent by God. After weeks of interrogation, they found no deception in her, only pure faith and conviction. Convinced, Charles gave her an army, a suit of armor, and a white banner embroidered with the names of Jesus and Mary. Joan rode into battle with her troops, leading the charge at a city under siege by the English. She was fearless, inspiring men who had long been discouraged. Against all odds, they won a miraculous victory. A battle that should have lasted months ended in just 9 days. News of Joan's success spread like wildfire. The maid had arrived, and France had hope once more. She led more battles, pushing the English back, one victory after another. Even when wounded by an arrow, she refused to leave the battlefield. Her faith was her armor, and her leadership brought Charles VII to Rheims Cathedral, where he was finally crowned King of France, just as Joan had prophesied. The girl who once tended sheep was now the hero of a nation. But Joan's enemies were many. The English and even some French nobles feared her power. In 1430, she was captured by the Burgundians, who sold her to the English. The king she had helped crown did nothing to save her, alone, imprisoned, and facing trial by a corrupt court. Joan was accused of heresy, witchcraft, and even the crime of wearing men's clothing. For months, she endured endless interrogations, trick questions, and cruel attempts to break her spirit. But Joan stood firm. Everything I have done was by the command of God, she declared. The court, desperate to silence her, found her guilty. Her punishment, death by burning at the stake? On May 30th, 1431, Joan was led to the marketplace of Rouen. She was only 19 years old. As the flames rose around her, she cried out, "Jesus, Jesus, Jesus!" Witnesses said they saw a white dove rise from the fire, a sign of her purity and divine calling. Even her executioner wept, realizing they had just killed a holy woman. But fire could not erase Joan's truth. 25 years later, the church re-examined her trial and declared her innocent. In 1920, she was canonized as Saint Joan of Arc, the fearless warrior of God. Today, she remains a symbol of faith, courage, and divine purpose. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like, comment, and share the video, and subscribe the channel.